I was once like many of you, drifting through life, settling for far less than I deserved, allowing fear and doubt to paralyze my potential. But then I discovered these life-altering lessons, and everything changed. My mindset shifted, my perspective realigned, and a new world of possibilities opened up before me. You become what you think about most of the time. Let that sink in. The ideas, beliefs, and mental narratives you allow to dominate your inner world quite literally shape your outer reality, right? If you fill your mind with negativity, self-doubt, and scarcity thinking, that is precisely what you will manifest in your experiences. But if you consciously cultivate thoughts of faith, abundance, and empowerment, you unlock extraordinary potential within yourself. As a young man, I allowed the voice of fear to reign supreme in my mind. I doubted my abilities, played it safe, and settled for crumbs instead of feasting on the banquet of life. But then I stumbled upon the wisdom of the ancient philosophers, who taught that our thoughts are the architects of our destinies. I realized that by changing my predominant mental patterns, I could rewrite the story of my life. From that day forward, I made it my practice to monitor and intentionally direct my thoughts. When doubts and limiting beliefs would creep in, I would consciously replace them with affirmations of faith and confidence. I am capable. I am worthy. I can achieve greatness. This is not some fanciful self-deception, but a recognition of the immense power we all possess as masters of our minds. You cannot outperform your level of self-esteem. In other words, you will never outwardly accomplish more than you inwardly believe you deserve. Right. This is why two people can be given the exact same opportunities, but one soars while the other stagnates. It all comes down to their respective levels of self-worth. I know this truth from hard-earned experience. For years, I chased success with intensity, but could never quite grasp it, always stopping just short of my grandest ambitions. It wasn't until I did the inner work of building an unshakable sense of self-esteem and self-respect that the outer rewards finally flowed in abundance. When you operate from a mindset of scarcity and lack, you will constantly self-sabotage and undermine your efforts. But when you know at the deepest level that you are deserving of greatness, you will tenaciously persist through any obstacle until your dreams are realized. There is no such thing as lack of time, only lack of priorities. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. What separates those who achieve extraordinary feats from those who merely exist is their ability to harness the time towards what is most important. How many of us have uttered the phrase, "I don't have time," as an excuse for not pursuing our deepest desires? I know I certainly did for far too long. But then I looked at extraordinary individuals who had built empires, penned literary masterpieces, or changed the course of history, and they inhabited the same temporal reality as the rest of us. The difference was not in the amount of time available, but in how they prioritized and utilized that time. While most frittered away their hours on trivial distractions, they devoted themselves fully to what mattered most. Every moment was an invaluable resource to be invested wisely. From that point forward, I became fanatically protective of my time, guarding it like the precious commodity it is. I evaluated where I was spending those hours and ruthlessly eliminated any activities that did not serve my highest aims. With renewed focus, I doubled down on what was most important, nurturing my physical and mental health, continuous learning and growth, and purposeful work towards my vision. My productivity skyrocketed as I respected the value of each moment. We are the sum of the 5 people we associate with most. Our peer groups, whether we recognize it or not, exert an immense gravitational pull on our beliefs, behaviors, and ultimately our life trajectories. I have seen this play out time and again, both in my own life and in the lives of countless others. people who surround themselves with friends, and colleagues mired in mediocrity. And small thinking can never seem to break free of those limiting patterns themselves. Conversely, those who intentionally cultivate relationships with positive, growth-oriented individuals find themselves naturally uplifted. There was a period in my own journey where I remained stubbornly stuck, no matter how fervently I worked towards my goals. It was only when I objectively evaluated my closest companions that I recognized the problem. They simply did not share my ambitions and vigor for constant betterment. As difficult as it was, I knew I had to upgrade my circle of peers. I sought out like-minded individuals who embodied the qualities I wished to cultivate: discipline, resilience, and abundance mindset. And as I immersed myself in their energizing presence, I found myself indelibly shaped by their influence. My motivation amplified, my self-belief strengthened, and I started achieving breakthroughs I had only dreamed of before. We truly do become most like those we surround ourselves with. Each failure, no matter how painful, contains the seeds of an equivalent success and growth, if you can embrace the lesson. Those who achieve greatness are not those who never stumble, but those who alchemize every setback into fuel for their journey. Oh, how I wish I could go back and share this perspective with my younger self, who was crippled by fear of failure and rejection. I missed out on so many opportunities simply because I could not see temporary defeats as learning experiences to be mine for wisdom. But through my mentors and studies, I came to understand that failure is simply life's way of nudging us towards correction, if we have the humility to course correct instead of surrendering to defeat. Those who ascend to the highest summits are those who treat each misstep as a chance to acquire a new strategy, skill, or a mindset that will ultimately propel them further. I can vividly recall the first time I adopted this mentality after a particularly brutal professional setback. Instead of resigning myself to bitterness and self-pity, I asked, what is the lesson here? What insight or ability must I still gain to create the success I desire? That one shift utterly transformed my trajectory from aimless drifting to purposeful upward mobility. These are just a few of the profoundly impactful lessons that have indelibly shaped my life and outlook. You become what you think about most of the time. So practice disciplined, intentional thought. You cannot outperform your self-esteem. Do the inner work to cultivate unshakable self-worth. There's no lack of time, no lack of priorities. Fiercely guard your moments like they are precious gems. You are the sum of your closest peers. Intentionally curate relationships that elevate you, and failure is temporary. If you extract the lesson, it becomes the launch pad for your greatest success. Once you fully metabolize and embody these lessons, you will never be the same. Your reality will shift as you apply these universal principles. Obstacles that once seemed insurmountable will dwindle before your disciplined mindset and self-belief. Opportunities previously invisible will unfurl before you as you open your eyes to an abundant universe. Most importantly, you will step into your highest self awake, empowered and insistent on wringing every last drop of potential from this one life. You will shed the shackles of fear, doubt, and mediocrity that may have constrained you. In their place, you will be imbued with an unstoppable sense of faith, courage, and possibility. So I implore you, study these lessons diligently, stretch them into the deepest sanctums of your consciousness through disciplined repetition. Then take action on what you have learned each and every day. At first, it may seem uncomfortable or arduous as you are reprogramming mental patterns formed over years or decades. But I promise you, if you stay committed, you will reach a tipping point where these potent perspectives become second nature, governing your every decision and propelling you forward with inexorable momentum. There will come a point where you cannot even fathom backsliding into your former self. Just as a butterfly cannot reverse its metamorphosis and return to the confinement of its cocoon. Once you absorb and internalize these lessons in the very marrow of your being, a new world will open up before you, a world of limitless possibility, purposeful striving, and profound fulfillment. You will forevermore see setbacks, not as devastations, but as welcome opportunities for accelerated growth and resilience. You will refuse to settle for anything less than your highest, grandest visions, knowing that you possess the self-belief, priorities, and mindset to make them reality. My life's journey is a testament that once you learn these universal truths deeply, you can and will start operating at a level you may have scarcely believed possible before. So let these lessons permeate your consciousness fully. Integrate them into your daily thoughts, habits, and choices. Embrace them wholeheartedly. For once you do, I promise, you will never be the same again. Anew you will be reborn, empowered, focused, and committed to crafting your masterpiece life. The path will be arduous at times, but armed with these eternal lessons, you will have all the tools required to surmount any obstacle and reach those lofty pinnacles you hungrily dream of. From this day forth, you need never be bound by the gravitational pull of fear, doubt, or mediocrity again. Right? You now know the way to break free of those antiquated patterns through the simple but profound act of shifting your predominant mindsets and habits. So go for it. Study, apply, and embody these lessons daily. Thought spots become things. Be fiercely protective of your priorities. Surround yourself with empowering peers and refuse to stay defeated in the face of setbacks. For when you do, the impossible will start to become probable, and the extraordinary will be simply par for the course. The life of your dreams is waiting for you to claim it through. The disciplined application of these universal truths. I myself am living proof that embracing them wholeheartedly can transform you from the inside out. Listen closely to what your soul is telling you, for it knows these lessons are the path to unleashing your highest self. Before we go any further, I want to emphasize just how radically different your life will become once you fully integrate and live by the lessons I've shared today. This isn't mere hyperbole. Absorbing these truths at the deepest level sparks a profound metamorphosis. You will go from being a passive spectator, reacting to circumstances, to the conscious architect intentionally designing your experiences. Right? No longer will you be at the mercy of your outdated conditioning, limiting beliefs, and scarcity mindsets. Instead, you will operate from a space of clarity, empowerment, and abundance. This inner shift will be reflected in every area of your outer reality. Your relationships will transform as you surround yourself with only those individuals who elevate and propel you towards your highest goals. Toxic associations that no longer serve your greatness will be pruned. You will become highly judicious about how you invest your most precious resource, your time and energy. Activities and habits that were once aimless time wasters will be eliminated as you realign your moments with laser-focused intention on what matters most. Your physical world will begin reshaping itself as well. You will likely find yourself rearranging your environment, being inherently drawn towards surrounding yourself with influences that reinforce your purposeful new mindsets. Income and opportunities that may have previously eluded. You will start flowing towards this upgraded version of yourself. It will be as if the whole universe is cooperating to accommodate the powerful recalibration happening within you. Okay? Most significantly, your sense of identity will be revamped from a limited, fear-based perspective to an empowered outlook grounded in unshakable self-worth. You will know yourself to be boundless potential weathering a temporary human experience rather than a fragile being at the mercy of conditions and circumstances. A profound self-respect will take root that is completely divorced from any need for external validation or accomplishments. You will love yourself simply for the miracle of your existence. This is the X factor, developing in core self-concept independent of any personas, achievements, or failures. Because once you access that bedrock of inner value, you become emboldened to pursue your wildest dreams without attachment to outcomes. Struggles and failures may still come, but they will hold no power to diminish your core sense of worthiness and capability. Right? As you start operating from this unbounded self-belief, you will conquer long-standing fears and limitations. I am reminded of a friend who spent decades yearning to start their own business, yet remained trapped by doubts and what scenarios. But once they absorbed the lesson that their self-worth was intrinsic rather than contingent on any endeavor's success or failure, everything shifted. Within months, they had mustered the courage to take the entrepreneurial leap, free from that restrictive fear narrative. This is the power of these lessons fully lived. They aren't mere intellectual concepts, but psychologically and spiritually transformative. They reorient your entire being towards its highest operating system, bind to conditioned patterns that may have governed. You for a lifetime get overridden by empowering perspectives fueled by conscious choice. That is where the real magic happens. When you rise above the default setting of living unconsciously to take full responsibility for authoring your life experience. And this wisdom tradition shows you how to do exactly that. How to supplant unconscious anxiety, apathy, and resignation with purposeful intention, passion, and persistence. This journey of embodying these truths is never complete, which is actually a beautiful thing. Because no matter how much you've already upgraded your mindset, there are always new realms to integrate and master. The learning and growth is quite literally endless as you continually level up your consciousness. Okay? For example, early on I may have maintained faith in my dreams intellectually, yet still harbored doubtful emotional patterns carried over from years of subconscious conditioning. Until through disciplined repetition, I succeeded in bringing my subconscious into alignment. Mastering my mindset was not a finite, one-time achievement, but a lifelong exercising of those muscles until operating from that framework was more automatic than default unconsciousness could ever be. That is the path for all of us willing to undertake it. Perpetually honing our focus, disciplining our mindsets, shedding antiquated narratives, and expanding into our highest selves. As one layer of limitations dissolves, we are instantly ushered into a grander arena to transcend our remaining blind spots at that level. It can seem daunting from the outset, confronting the magnitude of retraining our neurology and condition. But like any wildly ambitious endeavor, the solution is to take it one intentional step after another. To borrow a metaphor, you begin chipping away at that dense inner granite millimeter by millimeter, day over disciplined day, until the luminous masterpiece within is gradually revealed. There is no need to think of the thousands of hammer strokes required. You simply apply yourself fully to each individual step, trusting that the accumulated efforts will produce something miraculous, right? And they most certainly will produce something miraculous. If you muster the courage to start and the tenacity to never quit, because that's what separates those who upgrade their lives from those who remain stagnant. Not resources, not circumstances, not even intelligence or talent alone. No? The distinguishing factor is simply grit, the grit to keep persisting when the path gets arduous, to fan those flickering flames of belief when winds of doubt gust, to never abandon your highest aims, regardless of temporary failure. This is what these wisdom teachings awaken within you. An unbreakable spirit that can never be deterred from your noble ambitions. A faith in yourself that transcends any adversity. A calm self-assurance born from direct experiential knowledge that you have prevailed over countless trials before and will inevitably triumph over this one as well. This may sound grandiose to some, yet I assure you it is the furthest thing from delusion. In fact, this mindset and these tools are what allow us to circumvent the pitfalls of overzealous, unfounded bluster that inevitably burns out. We all know those unfortunate souls who constantly scheme about becoming millionaires or achieving massive success, yet lack the philosophies and strategies to actually manifest it sustainably. Their grandiose visions are rooted not in wisdom, but in fantasy and lack of self-awareness, which prevents legitimate transformation. What I'm sharing with you today is the opposite. Time-tested wisdom that allows you to build authentic self-mastery and sustainable success from the inside out. Right? Not some ephemeral pipe dream born of ignorance, but a profound yet pragmatic system for upgrading every fiber of your being towards its greatest potential. When you live by these lessons, your loftiest ambitions stop being a vague ideals and become inevitable evolutionary steps of your masterpiece life unfolding. So embrace the grandest vision you can possibly conceive for yourself and your journey. Lean fully into the resonance of these truths I've conveyed and let them initiate the caterpillar's transformation into the untamed beauty of the butterfly. Okay? Stop picking at the calluses of your limiting beliefs and stories and go directly to severing their roots by starving them of the energy that animates them into seeming reality. Turn your gaze away from the tired cycles of the past that have kept you trapped and look squarely towards the brilliant horizon that beckons with infinite possibility. Listen deeply to the whisperings of your highest self-urging. You to courageously ascend into vaster realms of being and becoming. Open yourself to receiving the abundant blessings that have always awaited your readiness. For when you surrender constricted patterns in favor of embodying these perpetual wisdom teachings, you are symbolically dying to the limited self you've outgrown while midwifing your rebirth into wholeness. It is both a culmination and a beginning, an initiation into the next octave of your heroic journey of actualization. And that is what ultimately awaits you through studying, integrating, and living these eternal lessons. An elevated existence outside the blinkered perceptions and self-imposed prisons most are ensnared by. A life of profound alignment with your deepest values and callings. A courageous adventure into fully resourcing and expressing the totality of your soul's brilliance for the benefit of this world. You begin to no longer live solely through the tight aperture of the personal self with its endless preoccupations and attachments. Instead, you experience being a vibrational frequency harmonizing with the sacred symphony of all creation, where what once felt like individual pursuits dissolve into being in service to a universal force vaster than your finite identity. This may sound lofty, and indeed it is, lofty enough to match the grandest yearnings that stirred you into remembering. There was more possible than the limited existences you'd inherited. Right? It is simultaneously immensely practical in how it manifests through your daily thoughts, choices, habits, and moment-to-moment experience. For those willing to humbly receive these teachings into the core of their being and live them devotedly, I can promise you a rich, masterpiece life that transcends your current imagining. One where whatever visions you currently entertain of success, fulfillment, and impact will rapidly expand over and over into ever grander creative expressions of your limitless spirit. Does it require diligence, tenacity, and unwavering faith? Absolutely. For nothing extraordinary was ever achieved through periodic lukewarm efforts. The principles are simple, but not always easy to implement amidst the gravitational pull of our conditioning and circumstances. Okay? I stand before you myself as living proof that these wisdom teachings are not mere rhetoric, but profoundly transformative when applied with devotion. For I have been the caterpillar witnessing its own metamorphosis through living these very lessons over many cathartic years. So if what I've shared with you today has stirred the embers of unrealized dreams within you, if it has awoken resonant echoes of your soul's highest callings that perhaps you have suppressed or temporarily forgotten, then I implore you, do not let these sacred flames be extinguished by indecision or procrastination. Let today be the day you make an unshakable vow to bring these wisdom lights fully into the core of your being through study and resolute daily application. Chart your unique path of embodying them according to your distinct temperament, experiences, and circumstances, but allow no excuses to deter you from faithfully upgrading each aspect of your mindset, your identity, your life purpose, your habits, and your environment. For when you commit wholeheartedly to this potent alchemical process with the right teachings as your guide, you will rebirth yourself into a state of being virtually unrecognizable from where you currently stand. Right? It will not be a radical disjuncture, but a sweet reunification with the radiant essence you were always meant to crystallize into. Again, and I speak not from theory or conjecture, but from the tender scars and transcendent victories of my own journey awakening to these timeless principles. I have known the weariness of blind wandering and self-doubt, and I have tasted the nectars of profound self-realization and empowered co-creation with the universe. So if even an ounce of what I've shared today has resonated and catalyzed a stirring within you to no longer settle for degrees of lifelessness when transcendence is available, then let that be the spark that ignites your wholehearted quest to live these wisdom teachings fully, to march unflinchingly towards your greatest flourishing regardless of which obstacles or setbacks may arise. Because the ultimate transformation that awaits you in actualizing these lessons is nothing short of being ushered through the hallowed portals of your own apotheosis into reunification with your highest self. It is a transcendence from life as survival and struggle into existence lived as a masterpiece in joyful, empowered self-expression and soul-aligned manifestation. It is your birthright, awaiting only your willingness to claim it. The path is immense yet clear for those with the courage to follow it. Okay, so let the epic journey begin. On your way to never being the same limited being you once were, onward into the luminous potential of who you were always destined to become.